You might not have known this, but if after 60 you've noticed it's harder to get out of bed, that your legs feel weaker, or that opening a simple bottle of water takes extra effort, you may be facing a silent condition that affects millions of older adults: sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is natural, but devastating if you don't stop it in time. In simple words, it's the progressive loss of muscle mass and strength that happens as we age. It doesn't happen overnight, nor does it give very obvious signs at first. That's why it's so dangerous, because it arrives quietly, and when you realize it, you no longer have the strength that once came so easily. Why does it happen? There are several reasons. As the years go by, the body starts producing less of certain key hormones, like testosterone and growth hormone. These substances are not only related to energy or sex drive, as many believe, but also to the body's ability to maintain and build muscle. Add to that something that happens to many of us. Life becomes more sedentary. We move less. We no longer have to go to work, or shop every day, or carry bags or climb stairs like before. That lifestyle change, comfortable as it is, also has a price. Our muscles get out of practice, they become lazy, and they slowly start to vanish. And there's a third factor we often forget: diet. With age, many people lose their appetite, eat less protein, drink too little water, or even rely on processed or fast foods because it's easiest. But what you eat after 60 can mark the difference between living strong or depending on someone to help you up from a chair. How do you recognize the first symptoms? It starts with subtle signs. You notice you can no longer rise from the couch with a single push. Your arms tire when sweeping. Your calves ache after walking a few meters. You lack the strength to hold things you once didn't think twice about. You trip more often, or you fell without knowing how. All those signals, as small as they seem, can be telling you the same thing. Your body is warning you that it needs help. Let me tell you a story that struck me. It's the story of Ernest, a 72-year-old man who had been very active his whole life. He walked every day, sometimes up to 5 or 6 kilometers, simply for the pleasure of moving. But with the pandemic, outings were limited, and then came fear, confinement, inactivity. In just 18 months, Ernest went from walking on his own to needing a cane, and then a chair to rest every 10 steps. It wasn't a serious illness or an accident. It was simply sarcopenia doing its quiet work. The good news is that all is not lost. Sarcopenia can be slowed, and in many cases even reversed, if it's detected early and you act decisively. And best of all, one of the most effective steps begins when you wake up with what you choose to put on your plate. But before we talk about fruit, antioxidants, and foods that strengthen your muscles, we first have to understand this reality. Because you can't fight what you don't know. And now that you do, you are no longer defenseless. Why what you eat on an empty stomach changes your energy and your muscles. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but we're rarely told why. And even less often what kind of breakfast actually matters for those of us already past 60. You see, during the night while we sleep, our body keeps working. The heart doesn't stop beating, the lungs don't stop, and the muscles, even if they're not moving, still need nourishment to stay alive. But after hours without eating, those energy reserves start to empty. When we wake, we are literally fasting, with low blood sugar levels and the body in energy-saving mode. And here's where many people make the day's first mistake. They don't eat breakfast in time. Sometimes because they're not hungry, other times out of habit. They have black coffee, nothing else, and carry on as if that were enough. But the body, especially the muscles, needs something very different. When muscles don't receive energy or nutrients in those first hours of the day, they enter what we might call survival mode. The body begins to consume its own reserves, and sometimes that includes its own muscle tissue. It's as if a car tried to move without fuel. What isn't spent wears down. Now then, it's not only about eating early, it's about what we eat. Many older adults have white bread, cookies, ultra-processed cereals, or sugary products for breakfast. All that gives a quick energy spike, but also a quick crash. In other words, it gives a false sense of fullness, but it doesn't nourish, build, or protect muscle. Ideally, the body should receive foods rich in living nutrients, and this is where fruit comes in. Fruit, if chosen well and eaten on an empty stomach, has a powerful effect on the body. It not only provides natural energy, it also delivers vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and digestive enzymes that help you absorb other nutrients better throughout the rest of the day. For example, some fruits are rich in vitamin C, which directly participates in collagen production, a key protein for maintaining the structure of muscles and joints. Others contain potassium, which aids muscle contraction and prevents cramps. Some fruits even stimulate the production of regenerative hormones that begin to decline with age. And not only that, many fruits contain natural enzymes that activate digestion and improve protein absorption, the basic food of muscle. That is, if you eat fruit upon waking, your body will be better prepared to take advantage of every gram of protein you eat during the rest of the day. A good breakfast with fruit also regulates blood sugar, avoids insulin spikes, and keeps energy levels stable through the morning. That means less fatigue, a better mood, and more strength to move, walk, and do your daily activities without getting exhausted after a few minutes. Remember this: after 60, the body no longer has the same reserve capacity. What isn't given isn't stored, and if it isn't fed in time, deterioration arrives faster than you'd imagine. That's why, if it's hard to get up, if you feel weak in the mornings, or if you've noticed your muscles have lost size and strength, you might not need a pill, but rather to start your day with the right food. Papaya, the muscle regenerator. Among all the fruits you can eat upon waking, there is one that often goes unnoticed, but has surprising power when it comes to muscle health. Papaya. This tropical fruit, with sweet orange flesh, is not only delicious, it is genuine natural medicine for those of us who want to stay strong, digest well, and feel less pain. Papaya is a silent yet powerful ally. Let's start with its nutrients. Papaya is a very rich source of vitamin C, a vitamin that not only helps prevent colds, as many believe, but is essential for collagen formation. And why is that important? Because collagen is one of the proteins that support our joints, muscles, tendons, and skin. From around 50 onward, our natural collagen production begins to decline. Without collagen, tissues weaken, knees hurt more, and strength is gradually lost. But papaya has another secret inside, an enzyme called papain. This substance helps break down proteins in the stomach, making them easier to absorb. And if a body fighting sarcopenia needs anything, it's precisely to make the most of every gram of protein it consumes. In other words, if you have papaya for breakfast, you're not only eating something nutritious, you're also priming your body to digest better the proteins you'll eat later, like eggs, legumes, or meats. Another mineral present in papaya is magnesium, essential for proper muscle function. Magnesium regulates muscle contractions, prevents cramps, and improves sleep quality. Many older adults are deficient in magnesium without knowing it, which shows up as weakness, constant fatigue, and muscle aches. Adding papaya to breakfast is a natural, gentle way to replenish this mineral without resorting to supplements. And what does science say? Recent studies show that diets rich in antioxidants like those in papaya help reduce muscle inflammation, improve recovery after exercise, and most importantly, slow the loss of muscle mass in older adults. One such study, conducted with people over 65, showed that those who ate antioxidant-rich fruits each morning had better balance, walked faster, and had a lower risk of falls. But beyond numbers, there are real stories. Let me tell you the story of Eleanor, a 73-year-old widow, very independent and with admirable energy, until knee problems began. First, a mild ache upon getting up, then a stabbing pain going downstairs. In less than 6 months, Eleanor stopped going for walks and soon after began using a cane. She tried creams, pills, even injections. Nothing seemed to work fully. One day her niece, a nutritionist, suggested something very simple. Eat papaya every morning, on an empty stomach, for at least a month. No sugar or milk on top. Just natural, well-ripened papaya in cubes. Eleanor agreed, though at first she didn't believe a fruit could make that much difference. 2 weeks went by, and the first thing she noticed was that her stomach no longer felt heavy after breakfast. Then she began to sleep better. And after a month, the morning knee pain that had accompanied her had diminished so much that she could walk in the park again, without a cane and without fear. It wasn't magic. It was nutrition. It was consistency. It was giving her body what it needed from the first moment of the day. And the best part, papaya isn't expensive, has no side effects, and is easy to prepare. You only need a portion of about 1 cup of chunks, ideally natural, without added sugar and not mixed with yogurt or dairy, so as not to hinder its digestive effect. You can eat it on its own or with other fruits, but always at the start of breakfast. Your body won't just thank you, it will show you, with more energy, better mobility, and less pain. Ripe banana, fuel for your muscles. Some fruits are simply part of our daily lives. They sit in the fruit bowl, at the market, in childhood memories. But sometimes what seems common is also what's most powerful. That's the case with the ripe banana, a simple fruit that hides a true treasure for anyone looking to strengthen their muscles after 60. A ripe banana is much more than a quick energy source. It's rich in 3 fundamentals for healthy muscle function: potassium, vitamin B6, and magnesium. Let's start with potassium. This mineral is key for muscles to contract and relax properly. That is, so you can walk, stand up, open a door, or even remain standing without losing balance. When there's too little potassium in the body, cramps appear, weakness sets in, and you get that feeling that your legs don't respond like before. Many older adults take medication for blood pressure, kidneys, or heart. What many don't know is that several of those medications have a side effect. They flush potassium out of the body. That's why it's so important to replenish it naturally, and a ripe banana is one of the best ways to do it. Then there's vitamin B6, which helps the body turn food into usable energy. It's essential for keeping the nervous system healthy and avoiding that fatigue that seems to have no cause. Thanks to this vitamin, muscles not only receive energy, they can use it efficiently. And we can't forget magnesium, which, as we saw with papaya, plays an essential role in muscle function. It helps relax muscles after effort, prevents stiffness, and contributes to better sleep. But it's not just theory. Real stories show the power of this fruit. One of them is Raphael, a 68-year-old retiree who had always been independent and active. Over time, however, he began to suffer small falls. Nothing serious at first, a stumble in the kitchen, a slip when getting up from the armchair. At first he chalked it up to age, but then he noticed it happened more often and that his balance wasn't the same. After seeing his doctor and ruling out neurological issues, a nutritionist asked something unexpected. "What do you have for breakfast?" Raphael was surprised. His usual breakfast was just coffee with bread or cookies. No fruit, no real food. They recommended something simple. Add a ripe banana every morning as soon as he woke up, along with a little water. Nothing else. No sugary cereals, no bread. A single banana, well ripened, to start the day. 2 weeks passed, then 3. Raphael noticed he had more morning energy. His legs trembled less. He could go downstairs without gripping the railing with both hands. After a month, not only had he stopped falling, he also started going out for walks again with more confidence. The secret wasn't a new pill or an expensive treatment. It was a yellow, ripe fruit that gave his body what it needed to function like before. A ripe banana is also easy to digest, making it ideal for those with digestive issues or little morning appetite. Its sweet taste and soft texture are perfect for people who have lost some palate sensitivity or have trouble chewing. And if you're worried about sugar, remember that a ripe banana contains natural sugars along with fiber, which prevents sharp spikes in glucose. Even people with diabetes under medical supervision can include half a banana in their breakfast if they combine it with protein or healthy fats like nuts or seeds. How do you include it? The simplest way is to eat it on its own, sliced, as soon as you wake. You can also add it to a smoothie with water or a plant-based drink. But avoid mixing it with dairy, industrial cereals, or refined flours, since those can counteract its effects. Do not underestimate this fruit. It's humble, yes, but powerful, especially when it becomes the first source of energy for your muscles at the start of the day. And now that you know its benefits, it's time to move on to the next fruit, which not only strengthens your muscles, but also protects you against the wear of time. Strawberries. Strawberries, the natural antioxidant. Some fruits not only feed the body, they also protect it from within. Strawberries are a clear example. They're not only sweet, refreshing, and pleasing to the eye, they're also a powerful source of natural antioxidants, especially needed in later life. Between 60 and 80, the body begins facing a silent wear and tear. This affects not only bones and joints, but also muscles, which day after day battle inflammation, stiffness, and cellular aging. Here's where strawberries become a key tool to slow that process. These small fruits are packed with vitamin C and polyphenols, two compounds that play vital roles in protecting body tissues. Vitamin C, as we saw with papaya, not only helps the immune system, it also promotes collagen production, essential for maintaining elasticity and muscle strength. And vitamin C is one of the most potent antioxidants we have. It fights the free radicals that damage our cells over time. For their part, polyphenols are plant compounds linked to improved circulation, reduced inflammation, and the prevention of muscle deterioration in older adults. Some studies show that a diet rich in red fruits like strawberries can reduce the risk of losing muscle mass and improve recovery after physical effort. Do you wake with stiff legs? Do your hands feel hard to move after sleeping? Do your muscles feel tight or tense even without exercise? These are common signs of internal inflammation, and strawberries can be a great ally to ease it. Let me tell you the story of Sylvia, a 75-year-old widow who used to start her day with black coffee and dry toast. For months, she suffered intense morning stiffness. Upon waking, she had to sit on the bed for 5 or 10 minutes before she could stand without pain. She thought it was normal, just age, until her granddaughter, who studied nutrition, proposed a simple change. Include a handful of fresh strawberries every morning upon waking, before coffee and bread. Sylvia agreed. The first morning she didn't notice much, but after 3 weeks, something changed. She began getting up more easily. Her hands felt less numb. She even noticed she could clench her fist more easily, something she hadn't done in months. It wasn't a new medicine. It wasn't an expensive treatment. It was just fruit. Real fruit, with no added sugar, no chemicals, unprocessed. Fruit that nourishes, regenerates, and protects. Beyond their muscle benefits, strawberries help improve blood circulation, which is essential for nutrients to reach every corner of the body. A well-supplied muscle is stronger, more elastic, and more responsive to movement. How should you include them? Ideally fresh, in their natural state, well washed, and without sugar. You can eat 5 to 10 in the morning, alone or combined with other fruits like papaya or banana. If you choose to mix them, it's best not to process them too much. Avoid blending or cooking them, since heat destroys part of their antioxidants. The ideal is to eat them raw, whole, or in pieces. An excellent combination to start the day could be 1 cup of papaya cubes, half a ripe banana in slices, and a handful of fresh strawberries. All in a simple bowl, without add-ins, without sweeteners, just real fruit. That mix is not only delicious, it delivers vitamins, minerals, energy, and cellular protection in every bite. And if you don't have access to fresh strawberries, you can use frozen ones as long as they have no added sugar. The important thing is that they're not processed or canned, since that's when they lose much of their properties. Strawberries don't just feed the body, they care for your muscles, skin, heart, and the way you feel when you start the day. If you can include them in your breakfast, do it. Your body will notice, and thank you. Mango, the fruit of cellular recovery. Some fruits seem to have been designed by nature with a clear purpose, to help the body recover. Mango is one of those marvels that, beyond its sweet taste and creamy texture, holds a true chest of regenerative nutrients. After 60, our body needs more time to heal. Cuts take longer to close, muscles take longer to recover, and joints become more sensitive. That's because cellular regeneration capacity declines with age, and the cells tasked with repairing muscle, tendons, and cartilage grow slower and weaker. Enter mango, a tropical fruit containing a powerful combination of vitamin A, vitamin C, and beta-carotenes. 3 essentials to activate cellular recovery and strengthen both muscles and joints. Vitamin A, present as beta-carotenes, acts as an antioxidant that protects cells from oxidative damage. In other words, it helps cells avoid premature deterioration. It also directly participates in forming new tissues, especially those that make up muscle and skin. Vitamin C, which we met with papaya and strawberries, returns as a protagonist here, reinforced. In mango, vitamin C works together with beta-carotenes to stimulate collagen production, that protein holding up our body's structure and which we lose over time. Without collagen, muscles lose firmness, joints wear down, and tendons weaken. The result of this combination is an effect of inner recovery, noticeable not only in muscle strength, but also in agility and resistance to physical fatigue. I want to share the story of Mr. Ernest, an 80-year-old man who had always been very active in his garden. Over time, though, he began to notice it was harder to get up after crouching, that his hands grew clumsy while pruning, and that his knees no longer responded as before. He felt his body asking for more rest, but he also knew that if he stopped completely, he'd lose even more mobility. One day, his daughter, who lived in a tropical area, brought him a crate of ripe mangoes. She suggested he eat them in the morning before his usual breakfast for a couple of weeks. Mr. Ernest, skeptical but curious, decided to try. During the first mornings, he ate half a natural mango as soon as he woke, with a little warm water. After 10 days, he noticed he could stretch better upon waking. Then, that he could get up from the ground with less effort. After 3 weeks, he was tending his garden like before, and his sense of fatigue had markedly diminished. The curious thing is that Mr. Ernest changed nothing else in his diet. He didn't take supplements or exercise more. He merely added a new fruit, consistently, every single day. That's the true power of living foods. They don't need to make noise to transform your body. How best to eat mango? The most recommended way is naturally, sliced or cubed, when it's well ripe. You can eat it on an empty stomach, as the day's first food, or in a smoothie blended only with water. Avoid combining it with milk or yogurt, since that can hinder absorption of its antioxidants. And of course, no extra sugar. Mango already has a perfect natural sweetness. A suitable portion equals half a medium mango, or 1 cup of pieces. That's enough to begin activating cellular regeneration without overloading the body with sugars. If eaten in the morning, it prepares the body to face the day with more vitality, less stiffness, and a general feeling of lightness. If you're worried that mango is a tropical fruit that's hard to find, remember you can often find it frozen. Just make sure it has no additives or added sugar. Do not underestimate this fruit. Behind its bright orange color lies a quiet strength that can help you maintain your independence, agility, and quality of life. And speaking of strength and stability, next we'll meet a dried fruit that's small in size, but gigantic in benefits. The prune. Apple, the invisible strengthener. If there's a fruit that seems to be in every home, it's the apple. It's at the market, in backpacks, at snack time. And yet many people underestimate its true power. Some even see it as a simple filler fruit, without much importance. But today I want to show you why the apple, quiet as it is, can be one of the most powerful strengtheners you can include every day. Let's start with what it contains. Apples are rich in quercetin, a natural antioxidant that helps protect muscle fibers from oxidative damage. In other words, it prevents your muscles from wearing out faster than they should. Quercetin also supports muscle recovery, especially after walking, climbing stairs, or even just standing for a long time. But that's not all. Apples contain soluble fiber, particularly pectin, which helps regulate blood sugar. Why does that matter for muscles? Because when blood sugar stays steady, muscles receive a constant source of energy. No peaks, no sudden crashes. Someone with balanced glucose levels walks better, tires less, and maintains muscle mass longer. Apples also help the overall metabolism. By supporting digestion and avoiding insulin spikes, they improve hormonal function, which is key to preserving muscle mass. Remember, the body often begins to lose muscle not only from lack of exercise, but because metabolism slows down, growing less efficient. Here's where the apple works, daily, quietly, adding strength. There's a widespread myth: apples aren't enough. They don't do anything. They hardly have nutrients. That idea has led many to exclude them from breakfast or to eat them without care. Here's the truth. Apples don't work like a spark. They work like a drop of water that falls every day. You won't see drastic changes overnight, but if you eat one every day, after a few weeks, your body will give you clear signs: lighter digestion, less inflammation, more energy for walking, and muscles that don't feel as tired. The apple won't change you in an instant. It transforms you through consistency. A study on older adults over 6 months showed that those who ate at least one apple a day had better hand grip strength, walked faster, and had smaller waistlines. Those who didn't eat apples regularly showed greater loss of muscle mass, especially in the legs and lower back. How should you eat it to make it truly effective? Ideally with the peel, since that's where most of the fiber and quercetin are. If you have dental or digestive issues, grate it or cut it into small cubes. Avoid peeling it, and above all, don't cook it or mix it with sugar or industrial products. No compots or cream-laden desserts, just a natural, crisp, real apple. A good way to include it at breakfast is to combine it with other fruits. For example, half an apple with papaya and banana, or in a bowl with strawberries. You can also eat it alone, on an empty stomach, with a glass of water. And if you worry it's boring, remember this: what matters isn't that it's exciting, but that it's effective. Your body doesn't need fireworks. It needs consistency, real nourishment, and the kind of foods that work in silence, every day, without rest. As an old country doctor used to say, muscle isn't built only with exercise, it's fed by small decisions. And one of those decisions is eating an apple every morning. So next time you see an apple in the kitchen, don't ignore it. Don't think it's insignificant. Because even if you can't see it, it's strengthening your muscles from within. How should you combine these fruits upon waking? Now that you know the 6 most effective fruits to prevent sarcopenia and strengthen your muscles after 60, you're probably wondering, how do I combine them? Should I eat them all together? What if I'm missing one? And what's the best time? Don't worry, you don't need to complicate things or become a nutritionist. In truth, less is more. The key is simplicity and keeping fruit as natural as possible. First, know that these fruits work best when eaten whole, raw, and unprocessed. What does that mean? That it's best to eat them uncooked, without dairy, without added sugar, and without turning them into juices. Your body needs to chew, digest, and slowly absorb their nutrients as they come from nature. The ideal time to eat them is within the first 30 minutes after waking. That's when the body is most receptive, the muscles have been still for hours, and the cells are ready for the day's first nourishment. At that moment, giving pure fruit is like delivering clean gasoline to an engine that has just been turned on. What combinations can you make? Here are some simple, effective ideas you can adapt to what you have at home. 1. Basic fruit plate. Half a cup of papaya cubes. Half a ripe banana in slices. 5 or 6 fresh or frozen strawberries. This combo is excellent for digestion, muscle balance, and steady energy. 2. Plate for regeneration and strength. Half an apple with peel, cut in cubes. Half a ripe mango. A small handful of prunes soaked. Ideal if you want to regain mobility, elasticity, and protect your joints. 3. Dairy-free natural smoothie. Half a banana. Half a cup of strawberries. 1 cup of water. Blend and drink slowly. Refreshing and perfect for hot days. Important: no milk, yogurt, or instant oats. Fruit and water only. 4. To strengthen the legs and improve regularity. 2 prunes soaked since the night before. A handful of papaya. Half an apple grated. This mix is gentle, easy to digest, and helps you stay regular, which also eases tension in the lower body. What mistakes should you avoid? The most common is juicing fruit. When you do this, you remove fiber, and with it, much of the benefit. Fruit sugar without its fiber is absorbed quickly, causing glucose spikes and then an energy crash. It also doesn't satisfy. Drinking orange juice is not the same as eating a whole orange. Another frequent mistake is mixing fruit with bread, cookies, industrial cereals, or milk. These processed foods hinder digestion, generate inflammation, and in many cases cancel part of the fruit's benefits. For example, calcium in milk can block the absorption of iron from some fruits, and added sugar in cereals can spike insulin, interfering with natural metabolism. It's also not a good idea to pair fruit with coffee on an empty stomach. Coffee can irritate an empty stomach and alters the absorption of certain nutrients. If you're going to have coffee, wait at least 30 minutes after eating fruit. And if I don't have time? No need for a complex breakfast. You can prep the fruit the night before: papaya cubed, prunes soaking, mango peeled. In the morning, just grab them, put them on a plate, and you're set. Remember, you don't have to eat every fruit every day. What matters is that each morning you give your body one or two real, nutrient-dense, consistent options. One day papaya with banana, next day apple with mango, another day prunes with strawberries. Alternate, mix intelligently, and above all, listen to your body. With just 10 minutes each morning, you can radically change how you age. Strength doesn't come only from exercise. It comes from what you eat, how you eat, and when you eat. Other keys to prevent sarcopenia at home. You already know what to eat, how and when. But is that enough? Are foods alone enough to stop muscle loss? Not entirely. Fruit is a fundamental pillar, but it isn't magic by itself. To prevent sarcopenia, you need a daily home strategy with 3 elements: movement, hydration, and attitude. The power of light exercise. One of the best ways to tell your body, "I still need you," is to move every day. You don't need equipment, a gym, or expensive sportswear, just your body and will. Muscles age when we stop using them. Every time you sit for hours, you send a message of abandonment. When you walk or make a gentle effort, you tell your body, "Stay strong, you're still useful." Simple, safe exercises. Walk daily for 15 to 20 minutes, inside the home or on the sidewalk. The goal isn't to run, but to keep blood flowing and activate your legs. Do gentle squats, holding onto the back of a chair, going down a little and up again, without forcing it. Stand up from a chair without using your hands, at least 3 times in a row, twice a day. Practice balance exercises, like standing on one foot for 10 seconds while holding the wall. These exercises won't make you sweat or exhaust you, but they activate deep muscle fibers the body forgets with a sedentary lifestyle. Hydration. Muscle needs water too. Muscles are made mostly of water. When you're not well hydrated, they dry out, lose elasticity, and their ability to contract declines. That can mean weakness, cramps, and a higher risk of falls. Many older adults drink too little water because they're not thirsty. But thirst isn't always a good indicator in old age. Your body may need water even if you don't feel it. Drink 6 to 8 glasses of water a day, sipped in small amounts. Start the day with a glass of warm water before fruit and keep drinking throughout the day. You can add lemon slices or mint leaves for variety. Supplements, only if necessary. In some cases, a doctor may recommend supplements like vitamin D, calcium, or magnesium, also protein powder or hydrolyzed collagen. But this should be indicated by a professional because not everyone reacts the same, and excess can also be harmful. If you eat well, move, and stay hydrated, you probably don't need much extra. But if you notice a rapid loss of strength, consult your trusted physician. Attitude changes everything. There's something you can't buy at a pharmacy or blend in a smoothie. Your mindset. Be willing to move, care for yourself, improve. Be curious enough to learn. Try something new. Revive old habits. That inner energy marks the difference between a body that ages passively and one that ages with dignity, movement, and resolve. Here's the story of Louis, a 79-year-old man who a year ago couldn't climb 2 steps without stopping. He spent the day sitting watching TV, eating bread, coffee, and fast food. After a minor fall, the doctor mentioned sarcopenia. It was the first time he heard the word, and he felt truly fragile. Louis didn't resign himself. He started with the basics. Every morning he ate fruit, went out for a 10-minute walk, and every time he sat down, he made himself stand up without support, day after day. Today, a year later, Louis has regained muscle mass and independence. He goes to the market alone, climbs stairs without help, shops and cooks. Not because he has big muscles, but because he has living muscles, active and useful. Sarcopenia isn't stopped by costly medications or miracle promises. It's stopped by small decisions, repeated every day. From home, with what you have, with what you can do now. If you've made it this far, it's because something in you is still seeking answers, still wants to take care of yourself, still believes it's never too late to live better. Sarcopenia isn't an inevitable fate or a sentence for growing older. It's your body's way of saying, I'm still with you, but I need you to feed me, move me, and care for me. Now you have real tools. You know which fruits to choose, how to combine them, when to eat them. You know how to move, hydrate, and activate every fiber from the day's first hour. You're no longer in the dark. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing what's possible. One step each morning, one more mindful plate, one new movement, one different thought. If you ever feel alone, think of all the older adults like you reading this right now, people in their 70s, 80s, 90s, who also want to live with more strength, clarity, and dignity. You are not alone. We are thousands. We are walking with you. Thank you for being here, for listening to yourself, caring for yourself, and believing in your own strength. Muscles need care, but so does willpower.